Hello and welcome to the United Preview. Basically, this is our spin-off show from our Sunday night normal show. Tonight we're joined by three panellists. Hopefully a fourth. The United man is having a few problems at the moment, which is why we delayed by a few minutes, but hopefully he'll join us during the show tonight. So, on the show tonight we are joined by one of our regulars. Unfortunately, Sean couldn't make it, but Tom is with us. He's raring to go. He's raring to give us some insight into Yeovil as well. That was my task for him this week. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm alright, mate. Looking forward to a Friday night for the Yeovil facts. So,
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to know some more really about Yeovil, because I've got to say I don't know a lot. I've got to be honest. Also on the show tonight we're joined by another regular who you've often seen on the United View. It's our leading lady, Hayley. Thank you for coming on.
Hello, nice to see you all. It's a bit of a change being on a Friday night instead of a Sunday, but yeah, it's good to be on and see everyone. Speak to everybody.
Lot to talk about as well with the Stoke game, transfers, and of course the FA Cup fixture. And also live from South Africa we have got Barry at Dock United. Barry, thank you for coming on. Oh, we may have lost Barry now as well. Sorry, the internet connection in SA isn't great at the moment. I believe he's on holiday as well, which isn't helping. Barry, you there?
I'm here, yep.
Yeah, you are with us. Barry, how are you doing?
Very good, thanks, mate. Happy New Year to you and to all my fellow Reds. Hope it's a good year for us all.
Yeah, we can only have fingers crossed. And Tom, to be honest, on New Year's Day, it didn't seem like the year was really pushed in with a bang, did it, against Stoke?
No, it was it was a frustrating game again. Third away draw in a row. We're unbeaten in 10, but it's just frustrating that while Chelsea and City are sort of battling it out and trading struggles, we're just not picking up those points. So there were positives to take away from the performance. I mean, Stoke, they beat Arsenal at home a few games ago, so it's tough to go to Stoke and get a victory. We've had problems there in the past, but picking up a point's good, but it's not enough if we want to challenge for the title.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great performance, was it, Hayley? And all in all, a draw more or less fair, do you reckon? However, too many draws away from home at the moment too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I remember commenting recently just about the fact that we've been unbeaten in 10 games, which is great. Nice stat to have. But at the same time, you start drawing too many games in a row. If the next game was, against Southampton was a draw, it doesn't look great. 11 games unbeaten potentially, but that's sort of four sort of draws out of 5. So I think for me the priority is points, and we need to start picking those up really, because I mean Stoke is a hard away fixture. I mean they give Arsenal a right battering, so I think there's it's not the end of the world, but at the same time I think it's now time where we need to actually take advantage and win games, because in April time the fixtures get very difficult.
Yeah, of course they do. And Barry, to be honest, looking at that fixture list, we've got a few coming up which we should win, but we should have started with 3 points against Stoke, shouldn't we? Barry, that was for you, mate.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I have to say the most disappointing thing for me in the Stoke game was that we had a total of 6 shots, of which 2 were on target. And I don't subscribe to it that it's a point well gained. I think it was potentially 2 points lost, although on the day I don't think we deserved anything more than that. We got out of jail. I think that penalty incident, had it been the other way around, I would have been shouting for a penalty. I think we got lucky with respect to that. And personally, I'm most unhappy with our centre-backs. If we're going to have a rant, that's where I would aim my rant. I thought they were dreadful once again. And I thought the biggest problem we had was the lack of chances given to our strikers by our midfield. I don't know, maybe it's just the television reception where I am, but I didn't see Mata for most of the game. You might have seen him where you guys are, but I didn't notice him, and that was a big factor. I thought Rooney also had a bad game. But generally, the team didn't play well, and disconcertingly again, with 2 more injuries picked up. So all in all, a bad day. We were out-muscled. The other way of looking at it, I guess, is that we've gone 10 games unbeaten. So we've become difficult to beat, which is a positive factor. But if we want to challenge for the league, we've got to be winning these games, not drawing them.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, it's all well and good, like Barry said, going on saying, oh, there we go, there's 10 games unbeaten. But at the end of the day, I feel like we've come away from Tottenham just. It's a draw, but it felt like a defeat. We've come away from Stoke with a draw that felt like a defeat. I do not buy into, oh, Stoke played better, so we're lucky to have a draw. No, we've got Mata, Falcao, Rooney, Van Persie all in the same team. I'm sorry, we should have beaten Stoke.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent, but you look at this United team at the moment, and it's still obviously very much a work in progress. I mean, for the £153 million we spent in the summer, we've got some awesome forwards, but the defence is still not there. It's just plainly not a title-winning defence. I mean, the centre backs are just not up to scratch at the moment. Smalling, he had a strange game. He had made a few good blocks, and then other times he was just all at sea. Johnny Evans was completely all over the shop. I like Evans as a player, but he's regressed in the last season or so. So it's frustrating. We should be picking up victories at places like that, but the Premier League's a tough league. You can see that. I mean, a team that's going to win the league is going to be going to those places like City at the moment and picking up narrow victories when they're not on form. United aren't the team that we need them to be at the moment. We're not the team that can go away and win badly at the moment. We've shown at Spurs and Stoke now that those type of games cost you titles, and that's what's happening at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating as well seeing the other teams' results with both Chelsea and Man City playing the way they are at the moment. We really could do something in that top two, if not even just create a battle between three. Hayley, we've mentioned the defenders, so we'll come over to you and talk about the back three. For me, Phil Jones can be rash, but he's probably the best defensive player we've got at the moment. Johnny Evans just still in a living, and Chris Smalling for me is just again Evans makes Smalling look a world above him. I mean, where do we go with our back three, our defence?
Stop playing Evans would be a fantastic start. I'm every time we play, I just keyboard bashing or whatever on my phone, going Evans again. He's just mistake after mistake. I mean that incident where he was clearly through and just let the attacker, can't remember who it was now, gain ground on him, and it really should have been a goal. I mean, it was a terrible shot, but stuff like that costs you games, because that would have been a goal had the attacker actually taken what was potentially a brilliant chance. And I'm really losing patience with Evans, which is a shame. He's a Northern Irish man as well, but I really do. I do think that we're massively lacking in that area. We're going to have to bring at least one quality centre back in, if not two. And the thing is, it's not just about the defence. We aren't creating enough chances. Our last two games, we've only conceded one goal, despite how poor we've looked. But where's these chances that? Spurs, we didn't put the chances away. Today we didn't create. At Stoke we didn't create, and that's the issue as well.
It's weird, isn't it? Because if you don't expect to create anywhere, it would be at Spurs, not at Stoke. You'd expect to play around Stoke, and we didn't do it at all. Fred says Evans was poor. Get rid of him and bring in Mats Hummels. Oh, Fred, if dreams came true. George Gain says Evans is horrible, needs to go now. Massive hello to Nick Wood, who's a first-time watcher at Total Manu 101. Hello to Liam Edwards, who's with us. Hello to Lil Hammy, who's with us. Inception's with us. And Dan says Evans needs to greatly improve if he hopes to remain a Red. And Nick Wood says, for me, Evans needs to go. Not a lot of love for Evans at the moment. Hopefully, he will prove us wrong. By the way, if you want to get involved with any of our talking points, any of the questions I put to the panel, use the comment box on our chat to make sure you just subscribe on the video, and also tweet us at United View. We'll get your views on. Barry, obviously this season we've seen the change of Chris Smalling and Ashley Young, but can we expect to see a change of Johnny Evans, do you reckon, Barry?
Look, I think that there are many people who, if you criticise anything at United, they feel that you're disloyal. And I don't think criticism should be confused with disloyalty. For me, Evans, Smalling and Jones have been around for long enough to have established themselves in the team. And quite frankly, I find all three of them not good enough. Jones particularly is very rash. I agree with you, he's probably our best defensive player, but he's rash. He's almost like a kamikaze pilot. Smalling and
Sorry, Barry. That was really funny. I enjoyed that.
Smalling and Evans, when they get the ball, I find, firstly in the Stoke game, they both looked as if they didn't want the ball. And often they'll get the ball, they'll start going forward, they put their arms out as if to say, what do I do next? And they play the ball backwards. And they don't look comfortable sufficiently on the ball to be part of a back three. I think they've been there long enough. I don't think they've established themselves, and I think they need to be moved on. The question is, who do we get in their place? Blackett and McNair are way too inexperienced. Rojo is injured at the moment. And in my most humble opinion, we need to sign 2 world-class centre-backs to bolster our defence. But the problem, of course, is who is available. And that, that remains to be seen. But defensively, we're very poor at the moment. And I feel extremely anxious every time we have to face a set piece, as I'm sure our goalkeeper does. And if not for him, we'd certainly be far worse off than we are at the moment.
Hey, Barry, could be worse. We could have Szczesny in goal. Just saying, could be a heck of a lot worse. He's got a poor defence and he's conceding. But, Barry, just quickly hitting on our defence, what about when Rojo comes back? Should we be excited for his return, or is he another one who you're not yet convinced about? That's for you, Barry, sorry.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Sorry, Barry, I was just saying about Rojo. For when he comes back, should we be excited about him returning, or are you still unsure about Rojo as a centre-back?
No, I'm not sure about him. He looked pretty good in the World Cup, but like with all our new signings, I haven't seen enough of him to know what he's like. But certainly, I would have enjoyed his physical presence against Stoke, and I would like to have seen him
Oh, sorry, Barry, we've lost you there for a second. By the way, if you want to get involved with any of our...
The defending that allowed Stoke to score is indicative of the uncertainty in our defence. It was woeful.
Sorry, Barry, we did lose you there for a bit, but we got most of it. Barry is live from South Africa, by the way, now, at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. He's on holiday, he's on vacation, he's joining us, so we have got a bit of a dodgy connection. However, Barry, thank you very much. Sati, the United man, thank you for joining us, mate.
Cheers, man. Happy New Year to all of you lot as well.
Mate, thank you. How are you doing? I mean, how do you see United's defensive problems at the moment? Are they problems?
Yeah, I think it's to be worried about, because at the moment I don't think we've got a leader. We've lost Vidic, we've lost Rio in the summer. We also lost Evra as well. I don't think we were good enough. I think that we need to go out and buy Hummels, possibly Subotic, someone that can lead from the front, maybe a Godin, maybe Miranda even. I think, we need to get someone of that calibre who's got experience under the belt, that's played in Champions League games, that's played in important games, derbies and stuff like that, that can really step up to the mark when it's necessary. And I think, I don't think Evans is good enough. I think he needs to go. I don't think Jones is Man United quality at the moment. Maybe he's got potential, but yeah, I think that's about it. Rojo, I've not seen much of him to really discuss about him. That's about it, really. We need to go out and buy someone that's there and been there, done that.
Yeah, we need to really invest, not just in this window, but possibly in summer as well. I mean, plenty of rumours doing the mill. We'll get back to those, but first of all, let's just quickly finish our Stoke review, shall we? Tom, we'll come to you first. I put it out on Twitter earlier on as I scroll through on my phone to get your replies. Feel free to tweet us now at the United View. Sum up our away form in 2 words. Obviously, 10 games unbeaten. However, we've dropped points away from home for fun. So, Tom, what do you reckon? 2 words to sum up our away form at the moment.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity, yeah.
Yeah.
The Terrace News says sobering dross. Hello to Manu 101 who says not clinical. Ignite Poster says what's happened. Isaac says homesick, and a guy called Cristiano Ronaldo on Twitter, not the real one. Hello Ronaldo, by the way, if you're watching. He says just don't know. We're all a bit confused, aren't we? Hayley, what would you say? 2 words to sum up our away form at the moment. Oh, you're muted, Hayley.
Sorry. I would say panic stations. We just don't seem to have the same plan and confidence at home, which is disappointing. And yep, definitely need to sort that out moving forward.
Yeah, panic station. Got to agree. Barry, what about you? 2 words to sum up our away form at the moment, Barry.
Bloody awful.
Love it. We don't need to expand on that. And how about you, the United man? What would you say?
Absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
It's got to be said, because we've slipped up against teams, against Stoke, Villa, where we should be taking 3 points and pushing on to get maybe even the title. But when we don't get 3 points against them teams, then it's looking very unlikely.
And to be fair, Stoke is always a hard game, and I do not agree with that our performance was a disgrace. Yes, it wasn't a good performance. However, we scored, we got something out of it. If we had lost at Stoke, would have been a different story. And it's great to see Falcao score again. Unfortunately, though, we've run out of time talking about Stoke. We'll take a point begrudgingly. We needed the 3. Let's move on, shall we, to some transfer talk. January is here. We've got plenty of transfer coverage coming up. However, some news has broken tonight, Tom. I don't know if you know much about this. Last few days, people have been talking about Seamus Coleman to United, 20 million, 25 million. According to reports tonight, Sky Bet have cancelled betting on Coleman to United, which usually means the next day there's some sort of Sky Sources exclusive. Do you know anything? Is there any rumours doing the mill about him? Is there any actual interest?
Well, there's plenty of paper talk as always. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Sunday World said today as well that sources have told them that Everton are getting ready for a £25 million bid from United any coming day. So, I mean, there's so much speculation, it's difficult to say. But it seems as though Van Gaal is targeting a right back at the moment, and Coleman could be that player. Personally, I'd like us to go for Cuadrado, because I think if we're going to spend upwards of £25 million on a right back, then we should be, say, spending a little bit more to go for the truly top class quality. I mean, I like Coleman. I really like him as a player. But I'm not sure if he's worth £25 million. So that said, if he does a job for us, then he's worth that £25 million. But personally, I'd like us to be going for Cuadrado.
Yeah, I mean, Cuadrado's always been the top of my January transfer shopping list. Just if we are going to play this formation, he's perfect. What about you? What do you think, sitting at home at the United view? Would he be worth over 20 million? Would he be worth 20 million? Should we be targeting a right back? Or comment in the comment box. Let us know your points, and after we've spoken to the panel, we'll read them out. So should we sign Coleman? Should he be our top target? Should we be going looking for a right back? Let us know. Hayley, let's come to you. Raphael in the squad, Valencia in the squad. Is right back a must?
Yeah, I think it's definitely amongst many others. I mean, you could say priority centre back. In my opinion, a winger, PC winger, but right back's up there. I think the problem with Raphael is, despite me being very fond of him, he's injury prone. I can't see at this stage him holding down a first team place, and I don't think Van Gaal rates him that highly. I honestly think that he's going to find himself in trouble. So he's been a bit fortunate that Young's been injured, so maybe that'll give him an opportunity. But I'm definitely not surprised we're being linked to right back, and I think Coleman, Cuadrado, someone of quality. They're not going to come cheap, but if it's going to nail down someone in the right back position instead of this messing around, Valencia, Raphael playing a couple of games, we need some stability in our defence, and this must be addressed in these next 2 windows. So I'm all for it, definitely.
Barry, you've seen some great United defenders, some great United right backs. I mean, the one which comes to mind for my generation is Gary Neville, but Barry, for you, is a right back a must at the moment? Should a right back for 25 million be at the top of his shopping list?
The top of my shopping list is a centre back, but the money I don't care about. As soon as United are involved in any transfer fee gets inflated, I don't mind how much they cost, because it's the Glazers' money, it's not my money. So I'm okay with it. I think that Raphael as well is not kicked on as we expected him to. I think at times he's a liability defensively. And for me, when we talk about wing backs, I prefer fullbacks that bomb forward as opposed to wingers that come back. So yes, I like a right back to come to United. I think Seamus Coleman would be an ideal choice. But for me, 2 centre backs and a strong defensive midfield would be top of my priorities.
I mean, I've got to agree, Coleman would be a great signing for the money. The United man, Sati, will come to you. But will Coleman coming to United, if he does, signal the end for Raphael at United? Because surely he shouldn't be looking at being a bench part player. He should be pushing for the Brazil squad now, not just United first team place.
Yeah, I think Raphael is a good player. I like him myself, but I don't think he has kicked on, as Barry's already said. I think he's a bit his progression and his potential hasn't been fulfilled, and at the age of, I think he's 24, he's not really hit the heights we expected. You know, Fabio, his twin brother, he left. He's not really kicking on for him. Valencia's done very well in recent weeks against Stoke, Villa, teams like that. I think he played really well. He's pushing forward. Him and Young have really stepped up to the mark. Obviously, Luke Shaw back, but I don't want to see Coleman at the club. I'd rather go towards someone like Dani Alves that's got, you know, experience, but a younger version, not an old version. But I think, you know, if Coleman does come, I'm not too keen on him, but he could make a mark in the first team.
Yep, another Everton signing. We seem to love them, don't we? Tom, we'll come over to you. I mean, in terms of other rumours in and around the transfer window, we won't talk about the nonsense like Gareth Bale because it's complete and utter ludicristic rubbish, and that's a big word for me to say. Tom, in terms of other transfer targets, could we possibly bring in a centre-back this window? Is there a possibility for Strootman? Pogba's being mentioned now.
Yeah, 77 million for a player that we let go for free 2 summers ago. So, you know, make of that what you will. But obviously Pogba would be amazing, and regardless of the price, he'd be a fantastic midfielder for the next 10 years, 10, 12 years. You know, he's a dream signing, but I personally doubt that. I mean, I think I'd love us to go for Hummels. He's not had the best season at, you know, Dortmund. They've really struggled. I mean, they've ended the first half of the season in the relegation zone, but he's been battling back from fitness, and a lot of players tend to have a World Cup hangover, and he's suffered especially. But I think with the winter break, a bid for Hummels after in January now, that'd be fantastic for us. And Strootman, I think, as well. There's doubts over whether he'll actually join, because I think Roma are pretty desperate to hold on to him, or they rather they want to find a replacement and they're not that keen on bidding on someone else in January. So I think we may wrap up Strootman next summer. Personally, I'd be amazingly pleased with Hummels, Cuadrado, and Strootman in January. I don't think that's going to happen though.
No, I can't see them all happening. And of course, on top of that, rumours. Let's come to you, Hayley. I don't know if you would want this now or not. If you reckon we should wait and see, but Falcao, apparently a permanent move for him could be done this month.
I really like Falcao, and you know, have since sort of day one been really excited about the signing. And I think at the end of the day, there's always going to be risks with players. There's no guarantees that anybody's going to stay injury free, and I think sign him up. I think, you know, as long as it's not for an extortionate figure, you know, hopefully, you know, between the 30 million, 40 million mark, he's got potential to be where he is a world class player. He's, you know, obviously been injured and he's coming back. And I think he is now starting to show some form. He's getting some games. He's looking. He's getting fitter. He looked a little rusty in the beginning of our last game. Started to get better, and he was actually our best player, certainly attacking wise. You know, by the time you know, it came to sort of him being pulled off, I think a lot of people were disappointed and shocked because he was doing well, and you know, he's getting goals and assists too. So I want him to stay. I want him to sign, definitely. I don't want him to go elsewhere, certainly.
Yeah, and of course that other club will probably be Real Madrid, and they don't need any more help, do they? Let's face it. Let's come to your comments then quickly. I'm just putting a tweet out if you want to get involved at United View, and actually hitting on that, Hayley. I think our tweeters did actually vote for Falcao as man of the match. For me, the only person who came close, and he was one of the substitutes, was Herrera. He came on and decided to run magic around that midfield with a few passes. So, yeah, it was Falcao man of the match against Stoke for us United fans, I think. Looking at your comments about Seamus Coleman, he's a proven right back in the Premier League. He would be a better addition than Raphael, says Fred. Nick says chances at Alves. I just think Alves is too old at the moment. Or he is too old. Lil Hammy says Coleman would be great, good at attacking and defending. He also scores goals. Nick says Raphael is too rash. Matt Cottrell says he's not worth 25 million in my book. Hello to Flim Flam, who says we're forced into signing another right back. I'd definitely take Coleman. Liam says Klein. Lil Hammy says Klein could be immense. I don't know. Where do we go? So many players could make a difference. The United man, let's come over to you, shall we? Coleman, you know, Falcao on a permanent. I mean, in terms of adding to this squad, we need to surely look at a centre-back, though.
Yeah, I think a centre-back is a priority. I think Falcao, it would be an amazing signing to get him on a permanent deal. The only worry is his age. He's only 29. He's getting a bit old. I think that could be the only worry. But I've got faith that he is the man, and I think Van Persie, he needs to. I think Falcao needs to be the main man up front. I don't think Van Persie should be. But on the note of Coleman, I don't really rate him. I think he's a good player for Everton, but not a player that I want to see in Manchester United side as a right back. I don't think he's got a Manchester United style of play in a sense.
Yeah, and I've got to say, also saying that, Sassy, from what Tom was saying, rather pay a little bit extra for a world-class player like Cuadrado for me. Like, he's someone who you know will give you a Champions League performance. Coleman's never played in the Champions League. And at the end of the day, this season has showed you need experience. DIY15 says he'll be a good signing, and he isn't injury prone. Well, for now he isn't, but he will be when he joins us. I love that. Hello to Savage, who says Coleman will be a top buy. By him and Shaw, they'll be the best fullback pairings in the league. Hello to Mo, who says top player, but I don't think Everton will sell halfway through the season. 25 mil is a bit too much for me. Let's move up to Jide, who says no, we need a central defender in Ron Vlaar or Hummels. Let's have a look to Red Devil Liam, who says I hope so. And hello to JR Buckley, who says Raphael is a liability. Charlie Austin says Coleman won't do as well. A one-team player like Baines, he will only thrive under Everton. They're your thoughts, and we'll have more transfer special thoughts, hopefully with Tom in the coming weeks, and we've also got a few specials as well with journalists. But right now, let's move on and talk about the FA Cup. Barry, we'll come to you first. I want to start our FA Cup preview by remembering a few past ties. I mean, Barry, when you think about Manchester United in the FA Cup, what do you think about?
I think the immediate thing that springs to mind are swashbuckling, exciting performances. Beating Liverpool at Old Trafford after they led through a Michael Owen goal in our treble-winning season. Great FA Cup game. Probably the seminal moment in the FA Cup for us was Ryan Giggs' goal in the replay against Arsenal that season. So exciting times in the FA Cup. That's what we're all about. We haven't won the FA Cup since 2004. It would be wonderful to win it again. A couple of, don't know how we lost it the following year to Arsenal. 2007 saw us lose again in the final. So time for another FA Cup final. But exciting game looking for. And, away to Yeovil Town, bit of a banana skin potentially. And it's something that I hope, United will embrace, unlike the Capital One Cup, and go there and demolish them.
Yeah, I mean, Hayley, we've got to say, Yeovil, we should be a bit scared of, shouldn't we? We know what happened at MK Dons.
Yeah, it's a strange one. It's always those smaller teams that I'm always a bit dubious about, because the squad go there, kind of feel like they're going to rock up to a bit of a training session, and the smaller team, no disrespect to Yeovil, but they're obviously up for the game more than ever, and that's when you basically get complacent. We saw MK Dons was obviously a very weakened squad, and a lot of players were playing that day that have already left. But at the same time, I think we should put a strong squad and not mess about, because the FA Cup over the last 10 years, for a club like Man United, we should be getting our hands on that trophy. Certainly more in the last 10 years, and I definitely want to win it this season, and certainly go as far as possible. So I hope that we thrash Yeovil, no offence, and progress far in the whole sort of tournament.
Hayley, I don't think any Yeovil fans are watching, so you're safe in the knowledge of knowing that you haven't offended any fans. Tom, we'll come to you. I set you a task giving us a full review. I've got to say, I've done a little bit of research on Yeovil myself. Obviously, we could be nervous, but Yeovil currently bottom of League One. Am I correct? I believe. Yep. They're bottom of League One. And also, they lost their last home game just before New Year against Leyton Orient. 3-0 they lost at home. Surely we should be able to go there and get a 1-0 result at least.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, as you say, they're bottom of League One at the moment. I mean, they got relegated from the Championship last year, and they've gone straight to the bottom of League One. So, I mean, they're a club that are, for all intents and purposes, they're sinking like a stone. But the FA Cup, everyone always talks about the cliche of the magic of the cup, but it really is that. I mean, this is, for a team that's bottom, they are odds on to get relegated. So this is pretty much going to be their game of the season. So the fans are going to be up for it. The players are going to be up for it. As you say, it's going to be tough for some United players to maybe motivate themselves. So Yeovil are going to go into this with absolutely nothing to lose, knowing that this is pretty much going to be the highlight of their season.
What about players for Yeovil? Is there any speedy players or strikers we should be scared of, Tom, or are they just all round at the moment just not performing?
I mean, you've got Kiefer Moore, I think, is their striker. He's their top scorer. I mean, they've been so poor this season. He's their top scorer with 4 goals. But he's potentially injured, so if he's out, then that would be a big plus for United. If he's in, then Yeovil, will be buoyed by that. So he's realistically Yeovil's biggest threat. They've also got Kevin Dawson and Joel Grant, who've missed in recent weeks. They're pretty good players from my limited knowledge of Yeovil. But if they're missing as well, if Yeovil are missing those 3, then it's going to be very difficult for them.
Hey, Tom, very professional punditry knowledge from you there, Tom. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed that. That's Tom's quick sum up of Yeovil. They're the players you need to watch out for. And, of course, at the moment, they are bottom of the league and they lost at home against Leighton Orient. The United man, Sati, let's come over to you. At the moment, thinking ahead to this, we can either get out the game with a little win, 1-0, 2-0, or we could go there with all intents and purposes to absolutely annihilate Yeovil here, to really send out a statement of our ambitions this season. I mean, what are you expecting from United?
I expect to win the game comfortably. I don't want to see a slip-up of what we did against MK Dons, losing 4-0. I also expect to see players like, Blackett, Wilson. I don't want to see a really weak squad like we did against MK Dons. I want to see a strong / some of the youngsters in there as well. That the strong players that can really lead them through the game. And I expect a comfortable 4-0 victory, but we thought that was going to happen against MK Dons. It wasn't the case, and we can really go there with all intent and get a really good victory under our belts.
Yeah, and hopefully a victory is what we get. Barry, going into the FA Cup game, would you play a very strong starting 11? Would you go for the same team against Stoke, or would you play a few youngsters?
I'd probably opt for a combination, but I think for Yeovil, the game, it's their cup final, so they'll come at us with guns blazing and they'll be very physical. So I'd certainly put in a couple of lads that can deal with the physical side of the game, like Phil Jones, starting the game up front, but I would certainly treat them with respect. And even if we do give them a thrashing, it doesn't give a sign of our intent, because this is Yeovil, bottom of League One. And United should win this game and should win it comfortably. But funnier things have happened in football, and they need to be professional about it from start to finish, and they must go there and get a good result. But I would hope that he puts a strong side out, possibly with some youngsters on the bench.
I'm worrying myself now by keep on mentioning MK Dons. I'm worrying myself completely. Hayley, let's come over to you. And as Barry said, stranger things have happened. What sort of team would you play then, Hayley? What combinations would you have? Would you play Falcao and Van Persie, or would you give Wilson a shout? Would Rooney play? Would Fletcher play? What defence would you play? Would McNair and Blackett both play? What would you go for?
I think it's a tricky one because, as I think as Barry said, it would be good to have a combination of some experience and some quality, and give some younger players a chance. So, maybe Blackett and McNair involved, either or. I would give Wilson a start, definitely, alongside Falcao, some quality. I think Van Persie should maybe have a rest. I would be quite interested to see Wilson and Falcao from what they can do. In midfield, I think with Herrera having been out for a while and he looked good against Stoke, I would be inclined to say that he should be getting some game time, some minutes under his belt. So I would play Herrera. Certainly, I don't know if I don't think Blint and Rocco are back at the moment. So obviously, if they were available, it would be good to give them minutes. If not, I think I wouldn't involve Fletcher personally because, in my opinion, that's just playing with 10 men. That might sound a bit harsh, but that's my opinion. So I would leave him out of the squad. And defence, try for the back. I think I would give Shaw game more minutes. Raphael will probably have to play with injuries and play a back two of possibly either Strong, Jones, and Smalling, and leave Evans out, or one of Blackett and one of Blackett or McNair. But I think that what we don't want to do is play a complete team of youth players. We need some experience in there, and as Barry said, not take them lightly. Disasters.
Sorry, hey, I was going to say, your point on injuries is spot on. I mean, instead of playing a young team, Sati, we could play a team full of players who are on their way back from injury.
Yeah,
sorry, Sati, over to you, mate.
I think if we play a full squad of youngsters, I think it'll be taking a risk. But if we get, like Hayley's already said, get Shaw into the game, get Raphael a few more minutes or so, because he hasn't been playing lately when he is fit, and get some of the youngsters, not many, but get some of them. I think Fletcher would be a defo risk. I like to see Wilson come on. Herrera, maybe Fellaini if he is fit, to do with the physical presence. We couldn't use that against Stoke. But yeah, against Yeovil, they haven't got many players that can, give us that much trouble. But I think, it should be a comfortable victory. Going on Shaw, I think that has to be he sure has to play, because I don't really put much trust in Blackett playing as left back or left wing back. I think he should be playing as the centre back, because that's where his best strength is playing at.
Got to agree. I mean, actually, Hayley, we'll come back over to you. Here's a question for you: does De Gea play?
That's a good question. I think it really depends on whether you see it as a chance for a second choice goalkeeper to get some minutes, or whether you think, De Gea probably could do with the rest. He should be used every other game this season, because he's that important, and he's made some unbelievable saves. So, but at the same time, he can't play every single game. We don't want to burn him out. So yeah, maybe we should give Lingard an opportunity to sort of get some minutes under his belt, and hope that, he's not a bad goalkeeper. So I hope that we're not being bombarded, and our goals not being lashed. Hopefully our defence will stay strong, but you never know with our defence.
You just can't predict it, can you? Avik Roy says, I want a full strength lineup, which does include De Gea. Kevin says, Fletcher has hardly had any minutes. He should get some time against Yeovil. Matt and Supernova say, what about if Anderson gets some game time? Tom, what about if Anderson gets some game time?
Yeah, what about that indeed? I'm not sure. No, he's on his way out. It's a tricky one, because I think as United fans, it's the FA Cup's always been, third round against a team from one of the lower leagues. We've always thought, well, this is the perfect time to give our younger players a chance and some rotation. But we're not in the Champions League. We're already out of the Capital One Cup. We've only got the Premier League to look forward to. I think someone mentioned the other day that United might be the team to have played the least games out of all the top flight sides. We've played one Capital One Cup game. We've played only in the Premier League, none in Europe. So it's not as if we've got a lot of games coming up. So I think it'd be tricky if, say, we put out a weak side, got a shock knockout, and then we haven't got a chance of the cup this season. So I think Van Gaal's going to have to put out a really strong side. I'd like to see a few of the players who are injured coming back into the team, but it's a game we've got to be winning, because you don't want to be knocked out at this stage and not have a cup to play for.
Yeah, no, that's true. And some reports say Januzaj obviously could return to the starting lineup, as he did do. Same with Herrera. Also reports that Daley Blind and Di Maria have an outside chance of making the bench, but you just don't know what to make of it. Do you risk them against Yeovil? That's the other question. DIY said Lindegaard in goal, Raphael, Jones, Blackett, Shaw in defence. Jusadi Janko to get a start with Fletcher, and if he's fit, Blind, Januzaj on the left, Wilson and Falcao up front. To be honest, Van Gaal, for the fans, couldn't pick a right or wrong team for the Yeovil match. It's just one of those. It's just going to be potluck on a day. Ciara says, not a team full of youth anyway, after what happened against MK Dons. The United man, Sassi, what do we think? Obviously we want to have top four, we need Champions League football back, but on top of that, is the FA Cup a priority this season?
I think, top four is a must. That has to be a must because of last season that was shambles. But I think FA Cup, if we get a good run, you never know what can happen because I think top four has to be with the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, even in the contention. They've all slipped up and they aren't that far away from fourth. And we're in third, comfortable, maybe. In the FA Cup, I think, we have to go for it. A top four and a trophy would be the perfect season for Van Gaal in his first. But, against Yeovil, it should be an easy win, and hopefully we get a couple of easy draws going into the quarters, and then you never know what can happen.
Yeah, we can only hope for the best, can't we? And obviously, it's going to be 10 years now, Barry. 10 years. If we don't win it this season, it's 11 years since we last won the FA Cup. That needs to be rectified, doesn't it?
Very much so. So we need a good run in the FA Cup. I'm sorry, I must apologise for the bad signal. And I may be repeating a couple of things, but someone made mention of Anderson playing against Yeovil. Well, for me, the fact that Anderson is still at United is a bigger mystery than the Bermuda Triangle itself. So I don't think Anderson will play against Yeovil. We've got to get a good run in the FA Cup, and it's got to be taken seriously. I also wouldn't like to see these players who are coming back from injury risked in this game. You need players who are 100% fit. Not sure what the state of the pitch is like, and I think we need a workman-like performance, some guys who can provide some muscle and steel to the team, and some decent ball players. I'd like to see Januzaj start in this game as well, so it'll be interesting to see, but I expect an emphatic United victory.
Yeah, it's one of those. As I said, team selection, we can't predict it. I mean, Louis van Gaal can't get it right or wrong. He's just going to have to put out a team. I did put something out on Twitter earlier on today. If you had the choice of one or the other, it's either a top four finish or the FA Cup for the first time in a decade. What would you go for? Now, obviously, an answer is both. But we're Manchester United. We're a club which famously wins trophies 10 years without the FA Cup in this era. Is not the best look. I mean, Hayley, in terms of priorities, would you say top four will always be above the FA Cup?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we were still in the Carling Cup, I would, you could offer me the Carling Cup and the FA Cup together, or top four. And if it had to be one or the other, I'd say top four. I mean, everybody wants to be in the Champions League. It's been horrible this season, actually. Watching other teams play and compete. You're really jealous. You love the experience on Tuesday, Wednesday night. It's horrible not being part of it, and then obviously financially, it's a huge loss. The potential of not being able to sign the type of players. Obviously, thankfully, being Man United, that wasn't so much of an issue this summer. But if it was 2 seasons in a row, you'd start to panic. And top four above everything else is got to be the priority.
I mean, Tom, does that sort of sum up how the FA Cup isn't as important as it used to be? Usually, it's about the trophies you win, not about where you finish in the league. I mean, is that a deterrent to it, or is it starting to turn into more like the League Cup, or is it just, I don't know, is it just that Champions League or European football now is the biggest competition instead of the league, instead of the domestic cups?
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that. I'd also agree with Hayley's point that you could offer me the FA Cup and Capital One Cup together, and that wouldn't make up for the top four, because top four is imperative, as Hayley said, to attracting the top players to the long-term goals of the club. I mean, silverware is very important. I mean, it's important in terms of mentality as well, because I remember United won the League Cup when Rooney and Ronaldo were still youngsters, and a few players were coming through. And I think they both said that winning the League Cup, even though that would have been considered as a disappointment in some seasons, they said that winning that gave them a taste of what it meant to go to finals and lift silverware and leave the stadium as winners. And that, going forward, is really important for young players. But going forward, I mean, top four has to be the priority. I mean, Champions League is where, for whether you like it or not, it's where the money is, it's where the prestige is. The top players want to play in it. So United, that's where we need to be. And for now, put the cup competitions on hold, because that's the priority.
I've got to agree. I mean, we've got to get top four. Give me both happily, but to me, the FA Cup is just, it seems to be deteriorating. It used to be the massive English domestic competition, and now it's, give me fourth, third, second. Well, obviously second place would always be above it, but there we go. That's English football at the moment, and of course we'll take the FA Cup, and we'll definitely take a win against Yeovil. Let's do our predictions then, shall we? And then we'll come to yours at home. Tweet them to us at the United View or comment in the YouTube box. Just going to quickly have a look at the comments. Avik Roy says the order of competitions now go Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, Carling. Giovanni agrees with top four. Flim Flam also agrees with top four. And Supernova Dragon says nobody really cares about the Capital One Cup. And hey, now Nick Powell's back, someone's mentioned, he could come off the bench. Who knows? Who knows? He could maybe start. Stranger things have happened after everything Barry said tonight. Really have. Let's move on, shall we, to our predictions. Goal scorers and score line, please. United man, Sati, what would you go for against Yeovil?
I think it will be a 3-1 victory to us. I think, Yeovil will take the lead because, their fans will be up for it. It's a big team, Man United, going to their ground. They'll be up for it. They'll be, chanting away in that. I think they'll get the first goal, but us being us, we'll come back and get all three, get the win, taken to the next round. The goal scorers that I predict will score for us. I think James Wilson bagged 2 for himself, and I also think, maybe Herrera or Fellaini that goes on, but I'm going with Herrera and 2 for Wilson.
Okay, fair enough. Galen says should be a comfortable 4-0 victory. DAY agrees with a 4-0 victory and goes with 4 for James Wilson. I'd love to see Wilson bag a few goals. Hayley, what do you reckon? Scoreline and predicted goal scorers.
I got told off recently for being a bit too optimistic. Definitely a turn-out optimist on my score predictions. I got slapped for a 3-1. So, I go for a conservative 2 or 3-0. 3-0. We'll try and be positive and see. And yeah, hopefully Wilson bags a goal. I think he needs that.
Who else? 3-0. Who else? You've only got 1 for Wilson.
Sorry, Wilson, Falcao, and I think Herrera would be nice for him to get a goal from midfield. Yeah.
It'd be really good to see. Liam Edwards says 5-0 to United. Now that's optimistic, Hayley. Nick Wood says 3-1 to United. Herrera, Wilson, Rooney. Lil Hammy says Man United 3, Yeovil 2. Januzaj and Wilson with 2. And Avik Roy says realistically 4-1 United. Wilson definitely to bag a brace. Nick Wood says 3-1 for Herrera, Wilson and Rooney. Fred Jones a bit more optimistic, Hayley, with a 7-0. 2 for Wilson, 3 for Falcao, 2 for Rooney. I mean, Barry, how optimistic can we be, mate? Can we say 7-0? What are your predicted scorers and scoreline, Barry? Oh, Barry, you there? I think we might... Barry?
I've got 4-1 for United. 2 to Wilson, 1 to Januzaj and 1 to Jones.
So you're optimistic as well about this, Barry?
Yeah, I think we're going to whip them.
Oh, I just hope so. I hope we can get a performance there better than a performance at Stoke anyway. Let's have a look one more time in the comment box before we go over to Tom. Dan says 4-1 to United. Wilson, Falcao, Herrera, Rooney. Supernova Dragon goes 2-0. Matt is going 4-0 to United. Hagsy 4-0 to United with a Wilson hat-trick. And Javion, we'll end with yours, 9-0. Tom?
I'm going to go conservative 2-0, I think. Falcao and Wilson will get goals.
I'm in two minds. I don't know whether to go with my outrageous one, which is saying to me yes, or my other one, which is just hopefully. My hopefully is a 2-0 with a double from Wilson. My unrealistic one is a 6-0 with a couple from Rooney, a couple from Wilson, Herrera, and just for Sean, seeing as he's not here, a Carrick goal. So you never know. We'll have to wait and see. Other news today, Steven Gerrard is set to leave Liverpool. Are we bothered? No, we're not really. But however, see you later, Steven Gerrard. Barry's celebrating there, and I'm sure Anderson will be having one drink for every Premier League medal that he has won instead of Gerrard. Right, that's all from us tonight. You've heard from our panellists. Let's find out where you can hear more from them. Barry, whereabouts are you on Twitter, mate? And thank you for joining us from your vacation. Oh, Barry's frozen again. See, it always goes wrong at the end. Barry? No, Barry has gone now, unfortunately. Sassy, the United man. Oh, are you with us, Barry?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Sorry, mate, you froze for a second. Where can people hear more from you? Whereabouts are you on Twitter?
My Twitter handle is at @DocUnited. I'd love to hear from any United fans.
Cheers, mate. Very knowledgeable, Barry, and thank you for coming on a 12 Greats of Christmas as well.
Thank you for having me, and my humble apologies for the bad internet signal. Guys, this is Africa.
Hopefully that's not going to be the last time we hear that on our show. Sati, the United Man, where can we find you, mate?
My Twitter account is at @theunitedman_mu, and I've also got a YouTube channel called The United Man.
Yeah, love this guy when he goes on a rant. Hopefully one week we're going to get him one on the show. Hayley, thank you for coming on, Sati. Hayley, where can we find you?
My Twitter handle is heels_101, and my blog is girlinred.co.uk.
Cheers, Hayley. And Tom, where can we keep up to date with your IndyCar news?
Oh, there you go. You can follow at Tom J. Toyle for all the latest, you know.
Yeah, the United View's very own IndyCar. No, he's not really. We can trust Tom. He works for ESPN. I mean, and us. How worse can it get? Tom, thank you very much, mate. And of course, we'll have more transfer gossip as we can. So, all that's left for me to say is a board draw against Stoke. We feel like we've lost another game there. However, we go away to Yeovil, the bottom club in League One. FA Cup tie with optimism and hope. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Tweet us at the United View about tonight's show. And all that's left for me to say, seeing Sean isn't here, is come on, United. Let's get a win and proceed into the FA Cup. Thank you. Bye.